Hello, I'm Magalie Laguerre-Wilkinson from the Diaspora Salon in Marrakech, Morocco, with the one and only Meryanne Loum-Martin, who is the founder and creator of this extraordinary place and space and an event over the course of 4 days. This is the second annual Diaspora Salon, and it is quite the event, I have to tell you. So Meryanne, welcome to a podcast about what you've created, about your place. And I want to know a little bit about it. I mean, for the people who are listening, why don't you tempt their ear a bit with what this was all about, where it came from, where did this idea emerge from?
So we are in Marrakech in a boutique hotel that I own and designed 25 years ago, which is called Jnane Tamsna. And Jnane means Garden of Paradise, and Tamsna is the name of a village not very far. And I realized a long time ago, because as you know, I never went to hospitality school and I was really not programmed to be doing this, that hospitality can also be a platform of action. We have for years hosted remarkable authors around writing workshops. We have for years hosted theme days, I would say. Mm-hmm. It can be, discussions about environment, about literature, etc. And it's wonderful to realize that I'm free to use, my husband and I are free to use this place as a platform for transformative action. Mm-hmm. And as you know, I have a foot in various Black diasporas, and I have always been quite frustrated to see that I can be, for example, in the vineyard in August and be at a party where, everybody's more brilliant than the other, and I'm the only non-American. Mm-hmm. And then I will go to another incredible place in France with a group of Senegalese, and the same. I'm half Senegalese, but I realize there's no one else apart from Senegalese there, And so I realize also that this is exactly playing the game of the people who oppressed us and colonized us for centuries, because it was in their interest that we didn't know each other.
To separate.
Yes, so we continue to live in silos, mm-hmm. when more than ever it is very important, especially the young generation, that they realize that if they are connected to the rest of the diaspora, their horizon is not shrinking, it is expanding. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of things going on now trying to make us feel that whatever we have achieved might be fragile, mm-hmm. when some others are permanent. And it is this threat of fragility that I think the Diaspora Salon is particularly meeting now, because we have the most amazing speakers coming. Oh. And it's a place where we want people to connect, to meet, to network, to be absolutely energized by the brilliance of the whole crowd. Mm. And I think it's working very efficiently.
I think it is too. And there's something about it too. When you started hosting before the salon, it was around certain themes, as you said. But this is a meeting of minds coming from different places. And it's also very intimate. So there's so many different industries. But we're only, about 200 people? Just about?
Less. A little less. 140.
But from everywhere. We have authors, we have, engineers, we have journalists, we have musicians.
Lawyers, doctors.
And politicians.
Yes.
Even. And so is this your goal realized? Is this, when you see all of this, when you take a step back and you look at it, is this realizing your vision?
It is absolutely realizing the vision, because I know that Black communities and diasporas are absolutely full of excellence. At a level which is unimaginable for most people who don't know us, And it's true, because even when our ancestors were in shackles, their mind was free. Mm. And we are coming down from all these generations of people whose mind had to become creative and strong to be able to be resilient, And so it is very much a fact that here we are, this is what we have achieved, even though we had more hurdles than any other community in the world for centuries. We are here, but we are lacking access. Mm-hmm. We are lacking connection to each other. Mm-hmm. And how come, this young student who needs his first internship, which is going to be changing his future, he doesn't know that maybe in Abidjan or Dakar, this internship could happen.
Of course.
And he's sitting in an HBCU somewhere in a southern state in the U.S., and he doesn't even know that there's possibilities outside.
This is really a way of, to use a cliche term, but this is literal bridge building.
Totally.
You're doing it, but it's one bridge to another, to another, to another. It's been interesting to hear the nuances because we're not a monolith either. We all come from different experiences as well. But this has felt really like a safe space. It's almost like a big therapy session in many ways.
Yes. And some people have said we are building a restorative movement.
Yeah.
Because people need to restore their confidence, their feeling. A lot of people are so, even if they're very successful, their personal business has been recently very hurt.
Yes, of course.
And
impacted,
so
for sure.
Very impacted. So it comes. This place suddenly comes as a space where people can breathe.
Oh, for sure. And we've been doing breathing exercises here too.
Yes.
It's a little bit of a part of it. But what's fascinating too? The discussions are one thing. The panels, listening to the experiences. But then when you go and have meals together and you meet these other minds there that you can have one-on-one, that you can have access to people, frankly, who might be a bit more difficult to reach after a place like this.
Yes.
You've created something that's pretty exceptional. I don't know of anything like this short of exclusive things in, the mountains of Colorado or Switzerland where people have to know someone to be able to get in. There's something about this that's way more tangible.
Yes, well, I think that it's because we own the narrative here, even though we're open to people from everywhere. And it's a Black event in the sense that it's an event by us, about us, but for everyone. Mm-hmm. And last year we had a lawyer from Holland speaking about art. He's a specialist of art restitution, because our community is not living on another planet. So there will be Caucasian speakers connected to subjects of interest for us, like last year. And there will be also others in the future. What I think is key is that it is a place where the greatness of Blackness is leading everything.
Mm-hmm. What's in store for next year? What do you learn every year that you do this? What do you want to do that's different, if it's not a secret?
No, it's not a secret. I think that we are creating amazing content this year. We have enough to create an interesting YouTube channel. We have this amazing concert, the one of last night and the one of tonight, which are going to be recorded. We have all the panels recorded. We have your podcast. We're starting a book club also. I will tell about it tonight. A book club with a wonderful concept owned by a guy based in Belgium. It will be a monthly meeting. People can sign up, know. And then the idea is to create smaller events between the big ones. The big ones always happening in Marrakech, because we want to start the last day of the Contemporary African Art Fair, which is called 154, so people can come for both. Next year is going to be in March. I announced it will be 21st to 24th of March, because 154 will be 17 to 21st, and we start on them. What I would very much like also is that we open to writing, having something about screenwriting.
So
workshops and things like that. It's only going to grow especially from this year. But I don't want to ever have more than 200 guests on site.
Yeah.
Because the whole purpose, so if there's a waiting list next year, too bad. They will have to wait for someone to cancel.
The intimacy of it. Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's not a festival with thousands of people.
Yeah.
Our impact is that everybody stay in touch.
Right.
And there's someone who came last year. He couldn't come, unfortunately, this year at the last minute. But he had seen everybody because he travels quite a bit in the U.S. and abroad. He told me he saw everyone he met here. Yes. Within a year, he was traveling, and every time there was someone around, and he had seen everybody. And this is exactly the purpose. To create a community of Black achievers who can help them each other, if there's a kid looking for an internship, all of these things. It's about creating our own community.
I want to step back 1 second and just get into a little bit of the history behind this, because someone will say, well, why Marrakech? Why are we here? So explain how you came here and the magic of this place and why you decided to stay, and it created the salon in many ways.
So, in fact, I came to Marrakech, I was a lawyer in Paris, and I was always passionate about architecture. And I think that I was passionate as a child about architecture because I come from so many different cultures, and we never lived in any of our countries of origin. So I was inside and outside of everywhere, I'm French, but I can also see France from outside. I spend a lot of time in England, and the same thing. And so architecture has always been, for me, the culture, the identity of a country.
Yes.
And I think it's because of my interest in culture, that I was also fascinated about architecture. I went to Mali when I was young to visit Timbuktu, and I went to India to visit Mexico. I was always looking at architecture first. And then what happened is that my parents wanted to have a holiday house in a place which would not be further than 3 hours flight from Paris.
Right.
My mother being from West Indies and my father from Senegal, it was a bit far to go there for a weekend.
Specifically from Guadeloupe.
From Guadeloupe, exactly. So Marrakech was very famous in Paris then because of Yves Saint Laurent and a few famous people having houses there. And it also had an iconic culture, oriental opulence, beautiful architecture, etc. And I had a very good friend whom you knew, Quito, who had a house here, and who is part of the first circle of Yves Saint Laurent. And I used to see him once a week in Paris, and I asked him, if I come to Marrakech, would you help me find land? I'm going to do a project for my parents. And I came, and I fell in love with Marrakech, and my parents bought this land, and here I am building a house for them. While I was building a house for them, I understood the discrepancy between what people were expecting from a trip in Marrakech and the reality of what the hospitality was then in the late 80s. If you did not have the means to go to Mamounia, you were totally cut from what you were hoping about a Moroccan experience.
And just for our listeners, La Mamounia
is the most
iconic, legendary, famous hotel
in Marrakech, where Churchill used to go for I don't know how many decades every winter to paint from his window the snow-capped Atlas Mountains. So we are like in 87, and it's just the beginning of boutique hotels, And I realized that there's, on one hand, an incredible culture. On the other hand, people coming, being disappointed. The return rate of tourism was 1%.
Wow.
Can you imagine? So I had the idea, well, since a big place, because they had hotel for conferences, things like that, since a big hotel cannot connect people to the culture, because it has to have a corporate approach, why not create small places, superbly designed, which are going by its human size to connect people to the local culture.
Of course.
And I convinced my father to do something bigger than what they needed. And off we opened, and the first guest was Brad Pitt. And we never stopped. So it was a buyout. People could not, it was not a villa rental, and it was not a guest house that people could rent by the room. It was a magnificent buyout with an incredible lifestyle rooted into the house. And this really put me on the map, and it became, it was packed all the time, to the point that Tom Cruise had to try 4 times before we could before we get in. And I was still a lawyer in Paris, and his assistant one day called me, and she said, "Oh, the 4th time now. Do you know who he is?" And I said, "Yes, so what? Do you know who we have?" And I listed people who were as important or even more. And I said, I can ask them to change their dates. And so, I would come back from the law firm and find in the apartment miles of faxes. You remember fax time?
Of course.
And then people would just say, just tell us when you have availability, which is a dream question for someone in the hospitality business. So that's how I started coming to Marrakech. And then at some point we decided to move here permanently in 96, and then I started looking for land to do my own project.
Right.
And I bought this land in 2000 and built the hotel in 2001.
This is such an amazing story because I think that it shows also determination. It shows your prowess as an entrepreneur. You didn't stay in your comfort zone because you had vision.
Yeah, for sure. It was not my comfort zone.
But
coming to a country which wasn't mine and having to deal with the most macho and misogynistic trade, which is construction sites.
Yeah, I know. I think that's a global problem, Meryanne. That seems to be the problem across the board. But I will say that I think things have evolved since then. I mean, the services, everything that we're getting here. I mean, it's the most extraordinary, warm people, so wonderful. I know that you know what happens in the weeds, but we don't need to see that.
No, but it's fine. It's fine, you know. Most people have been working with us for 20 years, 15 years.
Yeah.
It's fine. But it is true that then, because the city has very much evolved.
Oh, of course.
You know, but the other day I bumped into someone who told me, you know, that your first place can be traced to the origin of 1,800 guest houses over.
You planted that seed.
I had no idea. I just knew it was right for me.
Yeah.
But I had no idea that I would send a trend, you know?
Wow.
It was not even my goal. I was just doing my own thing.
Well, this trend has taken off, but I think the fact that it has branched out and to come full circle for it to be this Diaspora Salon is really incredible. It's extraordinary, frankly.
Well, I'm happy you feel like it.
Of course I feel it. But listen, I wish our listeners could see what I'm seeing, but they should go to the website.
Yes,
right?
They should go to Jnane Tamsna, JNANETAMSNA.com. This is the name of our hotel, Jnane Tamsna.
And you're on Instagram as well, all over.
Yes, Instagram. Follow us.
Exactly.
And the Diaspora Salon, the Diaspora Salon.
The Diaspora Salon,
yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Meryanne, for sitting with me.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you to our listeners for listening. We hope you will be tantalized by what you've heard. And go online, go to the diasporasalon.com and check out the speakers and all the events from this extraordinary place, Marrakech, Morocco. Thanks so much.